The New York Yankees are now becoming one of the best teams in all of baseball. Over the last 30 days, they've been absolutely on fire, and they got a chance to win the AL East. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Bad for Baseball, the baddest baseball podcast on the internet. I'm Adam Peddle. I guess I'm joining alongside Nicholas Blaylock because he's back in the studio. We're big Blue Jays fans, as you guys know here on Bad for Baseball, and we're really afraid because we see an absolute steamrolling train in the second spot of the AL East coming back. They've been pitching well, they've been hitting well. We're going to break down exactly what is going right for them, who's doing it, and do we think that they're going to win the AL East? If you like the content, hit the like button and smash that subscribe button. 3 games back, the New York Yankees are, and they had a tough series against the Houston Astros, and they won, and they needed to in the AL East.
Yeah, looking at that AL East right now, everybody, New York Yankees, they are 8-2 in their last 10. We know about the run differential. There was a moment of time in the middle of that season where the run differential started to dip down. That is when it just felt like every single individual in New York forgot how to play good fundamental baseball. Defense wasn't working over there, but they remembered, and they are now once again one of MLB's best teams. And that's 3 games back of the Toronto Blue Jays. They play the Toronto Blue Jays starting today. So, this could be absolutely nothing depending on what happens in that series. They also took care of business, like you alluded to, against those Houston Astros, winning 2 of 3. That's their most recent series. It was a chippy one. There was a bunch of, viral clips that were coming out of it. One of them, for certain, I know we're not talking about the Astros today, but, I mean, that clip of Valdez throwing at his catcher, crossing him up. Did you see that? You saw that? Intentionally crossing his catcher up?
Yeah, I did.
That was insane. I was honestly
crazy.
That was crazy. I mean, just horrible class by Framber Valdez. I understand that you're heated and maybe you didn't agree with, your catcher's call or whatever, but to do that, just insane stuff. But that's actually not the only kind of viral moment that came out of this series against the Astros. Right at the end there, after the Yankees, by the way, had beaten the Astros in that final game 8-4, Aaron Boone came and went to the umpires and was, I guess, kind of accusing Trammell of corking his bat. I know that you found this article, Adam. You want to walk me through this?
Yeah, I mean, it's just hilarious. It's back in the day with the whole Astros cheating and, Boone's a little paranoid that they might be cheating. That's the only way. But yeah, basically the bat would look like it was a little bit worn down. On the barrel, there's some scuff marks that you don't see that usually. You need to have a painted bat and have it up to standard. But there's these bunch of scuff marks, and Aaron Boone, was like, you got to check that bat, umpires. That's after he hit a double off the wall, which just goes to show they're still thinking about those old rivalry days where the Astros took the World Series away from them.
Yeah, and you know what? That is definitely funny, but ultimately, I mean, they left it on the field or not this weekend, but earlier in the week, and ended up with the W, which was huge for them because looking up at this New York Yankees schedule, it's tough. It is definitely tough. That started being tough with that Houston series, but then they go to Toronto, so they're going to be playing Toronto, or Toronto's actually going to be in New York, So Toronto's going to be in New York, then they're going to get Detroit, then they're going to get the Red Sox. So that is 3 back-to-back-to-back series right there. I guess 4 if you include the Astros as well. 4 back-to-back-to-back series of just really tough American League playoff teams. But if they can make it through that gauntlet and emerge, with a winning record, there's 9 games right there. They win 5 of those games. They go 5-4. I think that'd be a very successful stretch for them. There's a strong potential that, depending on where they get those wins from, if they take a couple from the Blue Jays, they could definitely end up going on to win that division, which is not really something that Yankee fans have been thinking about for a while, because you look at the remaining schedule after that, and it goes Minnesota, Baltimore for 4 games, who are done and dusted at this point, then the White Sox, and then Baltimore again. So that's about as easy as you can get when it comes to just overall MLB schedules. And I know that we were talking, prior to hitting the record button, but the Toronto Blue Jays schedule, whilst they might not have that gauntlet like New York has, it's definitely a lot deeper in terms of the quality of opponents.
Yeah, because obviously you got to go beating the Blue Jays, and this weekend is huge for it. If you could take 2 out of 3 at least against the Jays, okay, now you're back within 2. If you could sweep them like they did back in July, like the Blue Jays sweeping the Yankees, then that's even more tremendous because that will give you a great advantage. Because then I'm looking at the Blue Jays schedule here. They got to go face the Astros. Then they face the Orioles one time. Then you got a 4-game series in Tampa Bay at that tough field to play at. And the Blue Jays are never good against Tampa Bay. Nobody is. And then you got the Kansas City Royals, who are kind of fighting for a wild card spot. Then the Yankees, and then the Tampa Bay Rays yet again. So for the Blue Jays, they might take a lot of losses here. And that's 3 games absolutely at the end of September the Yankees can make up. And if I'm a Yankee fan, I'm actually feeling pretty confident, even though the odds might not say so. I'm feeling pretty confident that I can take this title.
Yeah, and I mean, a big part of that is just the overall fact that the Yankees are playing better than anybody right now. Anyone in the American League, anyone in, honestly, MLB. This is the last 30 days right here, folks, and as we can see, the Yankees at the top in their typical category. They are leading the league in home runs. In terms of OPS, they are second in all of baseball, so offense is doing what they do, but we kind of knew that we were going to get that from this Yankee squad. I mean, when Aaron Judge was injured, that's when we were having the questions about the offense, but with him being back, it is definitely elite. I think the one major difference maker here, though, is that in a season where they do not have Garrett Cole and various other injuries have plagued that pitching staff, they're first in ERA in the last 30 days. They got a team-wide ERA of 3.32. The next best squad, the Chicago Cubs, they have an ERA of 3.69. So you're talking about like almost half a run of difference better than the next best team in all of MLB is how good this Yankees pitching staff has been, which is honestly just a huge thing for the New York Yankees, because when you look over at the names that you got in here, I mean, Rodon is back from the dead. That's a huge addition for those New York Yankees. Having him be, not only just serviceable, but actually elite, they're finally getting their money's worth there. And then you knew that you were going to have Max Fried being dominant, and Max Fried is just Max Fried, and okay, we can lock that guy in there. But Cam Schlittler is actually really damn good at baseball. He's got an ERA of 2.61. And then over the last 29 innings right here from Luis Heel, he's, performing at a really high level right here. So they're getting these contributions that I think a lot of people wouldn't have expected or couldn't have relied on. Carlos Rodon's a prime example. I mean, I wouldn't have thought that he would come back from the dead like this. 170 innings to his name, quality innings as well. Just thoughts on this overall Yankee team and how they're performing right now, because, it's all good.
Yeah, I really like this rotation. It almost feels like they got some 2 additional studs at the deadline, right? When you go Cam Schlittler, it's like this guy was just, nothing burger. No one was counting on him coming into the season, and then he just turns into this ace. Okay, that came out of nowhere. Then you had Luis Heel come back from injury. He turned back into Luis Heel from those, rookie of the year years. Warren's fine, whatever. But you basically now have a 4 headed monster rotation that you weren't expecting, and they didn't go in and they addressed the starting pitching in the trade deadline. So just having those guys is just phenomenal, and we weren't thinking about that for a large part of the season with the Yankees. And now that they're number 1 in baseball, and you pair it up with that offense, I mean, they're getting hot at the right time, Nick. Literally, they have 1 month left, and this is the perfect time for them to be entering October. I'm scared of those guys.
Yeah, 100%, dude. I mean, and when you look up and down that lineup, one of the other big criticisms in history with these Yankees, or at least in the last couple of years, is, well, we have Aaron Judge. We have the best hitter in all of baseball, but where is the other guys with him, right? You have him, but then the depth falls off like crazy. That's not the case right now with the 2025 New York Yankees. I look up and down this lineup, and I see an 840 OPS from Trent Grisham, okay, who is batting first for them right now as the 12th best player in all of baseball, according to Fangraphs, in the last 7 days. I see an 815 OPS coming from Ben Rice. Crazy. Then you get to Aaron Judge, who is obviously just, the god of baseball. And then behind him, you get an 833 OPS from Cody Bellinger. You get a 971 OPS from what a lot of people would have referred to be the corpse of Giancarlo Stanton, but he has been insane. And then you get Jazz Chisholm Jr. in there as well with his 838 OPS. That is a top 6 that you could make a strong argument that this is the best top 6 right now, just pound for pound, stats for stats. I mean, I'd be interested to see a side-by-side comparison with them and the LA Dodgers, but like this feels like such a deep Yankee squad, and this is something that we haven't seen from them in honestly a couple years, right?
Yeah, you haven't seen because they didn't get those reinforcements. It always felt like it was just Aaron Judge and company or Garrett Cole and company, but now it's like Ben Rice turning into a dude, Trent Grisham. Like, where's this 840 coming from? This guy was just a glove from an entire career. And then Cody Bellinger is kind of used. What do you expect from Cody Bellinger? Giancarlo Stanton, over 35 years old. Like, this guy looked like he was literally like he couldn't run. Well, he still can't run. But a guy who literally cannot run is swinging bat and hitting the homers, and he's doing an incredible rate. And then you got Jazz being Jazz. So it feels like it's all coming together. And it kind of reminds me a lot of the Toronto Blue Jays, where it's like the guys you weren't expecting, just locking in and becoming great players, especially Giancarlo Stanton over 35, George Springer over 35. Like you were counting these dudes out, but just incredible stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, that's ultimately what it's going to take to win a World Series, is that you're going to have these, other individuals who you were not expecting to perform at a high level, perform at said high level. Now, the Yankees, they have the second most wins by 4+ runs this season. That is obviously a very good stat. I think that ties together with the fact that they hit a lot of home runs, and now especially their pitching staff has been playing so much better. Obviously, they are going to win by a ton quite often. All of this leads us to inevitably what is the through line of this podcast, which is that Toronto Blue Jays right now, their lead at the top of the division is not safe. Fangraphs has them at a 71% chance, 71.7, to win the division. If I'm being completely honest with you, I mean, I still think that they're the favorites. They have 3 games up, but I don't know if it's that high right now. They have the New York Yankees sitting at a 21.8% chance. I like their odds a little bit better than that. I would have these guys a lot closer. I still think that Toronto is the favorite, and ultimately it is their division to lose. If they walk into New York this weekend and deliver it to the Yankees and win 2 of 3 or sweep them, then that's effectively it, done and dusted. Toronto Blue Jays wins the division. But if the Yankees win this series, I mean, like, with the way that they're playing too, like I think I'm going to be picking the Yankees this weekend to win this series. So all that being considered, it's just like it feels like all the momentum right now is leaning New York and kind of going away from Toronto, going away from some of those other big AL East teams or just American League teams as a whole, and kind of going towards New York.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm going pound for pound right now, New York and the Blue Jays, the last 15 days, the Blue Jays have an team ERA of 5.02. The bullpen's blowing up. They're not in a good space right now. They're not getting hot at the right time. Everything's kind of falling apart on the pitching side of things. Well, the offense is great. You can go pound for pound with the offense of the New York Yankees. That's great. But if you're the Toronto Blue Jays, you got to beat their best pitching, and you might be able to. That's great, but you can rest assured that the Yankees are going to go get those pitchers on the Blue Jays side of things. So easily, New York, best team right now in the AL East.
Yeah. Honestly, best team in the American League for certain, I think. And you're right. Like that Yankee offense will be capable of pouncing on the Toronto Blue Jays, but ultimately, it is all going to boil down to what I would argue is one of the biggest series in baseball of the year this weekend. Folks, let us know your thoughts about all this in the comments down below. Do you think the Yankees have what it takes to go on and win the American League East, or are the Toronto Blue Jays going to be able to hold on? Please make sure to hit that like, smash that subscribe button, and we will catch you next time. Cheers.